My name is Rebecca. Standing at the altar on my wedding day, I watched as the MC announced, "Let's welcome the parents of the bride, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson." The room erupted in applause, and I saw my biological parents, Mr. and Mrs. Harris, in the back. Their faces were a mix of shock and disbelief as they realized they'd been replaced in every meaningful way. It all started 5 years ago. I was living in a small apartment in Seattle, working as a freelance writer. Thanksgiving was approaching, and I was excited to go home to San Francisco to be with my family. I'd already bought my non-refundable plane ticket and was packing my bags when my mom called. "Rebecca, don't come home this year. Your sister, Lily, is going through a tough time and she doesn't need any drama." Her voice was cold, and there was no room for discussion. I was stunned. I'd been trying so hard to fit in my family for 25 years, but it seemed like I was always the one to be pushed aside. I remembered my 18th birthday. I'd planned a simple party with my friends, but Lily had a fight with her boyfriend that day, and my parents canceled my party to console her. They said, "Be understanding, Rebecca. Your sister needs us more right now." And then there was my graduation from college. I'd worked my butt off to get my degree, but my parents were late because Lily had a minor car accident. They said it was more important to be with her. I tried to reason with my mom on the phone. "Mom, I've already bought the ticket." "And what drama?" "I haven't done anything wrong." But she just said, "Get a refund. Lily's well-being is more important." The line went dead, and I felt my heart break. I called my dad, hoping he'd stand up for me. But he just said, "You know how your mother is, Rebecca. She's just trying to keep things calm." I realized that they'd always choose Lily over me. Thanksgiving Day came, and I was alone in my apartment. I heard the laughter and chatter of my neighbor's family through the walls. I opened Instagram and saw a photo of my family gathered around the dinner table, smiling. There was no sign of me, as if I didn't exist. I couldn't just sit there and wallow in self-pity. I decided to go out and find a restaurant. I ended up at a cozy diner called the Harbor Cafe. It was filled with families and friends enjoying their Thanksgiving meals. I felt so out of place, sitting at a small table in the corner. I was trying to hold back my tears as I pushed the food around on my plate. Then a kind-looking woman named Mrs. Thompson approached me. "Honey, are you okay?" she asked. I tried to brush it off, saying it was just allergies, but she saw right through me. She invited me to join her family at their table. At first, I refused, not wanting to intrude. But she insisted, saying no one should be alone on this day. I hesitantly agreed, and that was the moment my life changed. The Thompsons were amazing. Mr. Thompson, Mrs. Thompson, their son Alex, and his wife and 2 kids welcomed me with open arms. They made me feel like I was part of their family. We laughed, we talked, and I had the first real laugh in a long time when Mr. Thompson told a corny joke. After dinner, Mrs. Thompson, who was a retired family counselor, sat down with me. She could tell I was hurting and asked me what was wrong. I finally opened up and told her about my family. She said, "Rebecca, you're not the problem. Sometimes, the people who cause the drama are the ones who blame others." Her words hit me like a ton of bricks. Over the next few months, I became a regular at the Thompsons' Sunday dinners. Alex and I became good friends, and our friendship slowly turned into something more. We got engaged about 2 years after that first Thanksgiving. As the wedding planning began, I faced a big problem. The wedding invitations needed a line for the parents of the bride. I couldn't put my biological parents' names on it. They hadn't been in touch with me for over 2 years, and they didn't deserve that honor. Mrs. Thompson then suggested adult adoption. She said the law recognized chosen families, and she'd helped many people through the process. I was hesitant at first, but then I realized that the Thompsons were the family I'd always wanted. They agreed to adopt me, and after several months of paperwork and legal procedures, I officially became a Thompson. 3 months before the wedding, Lily texted me, asking if it was true that I was getting married. I blocked her number. Then my mom called multiple times, but I ignored her calls. Finally, she showed up at my apartment. "What are you doing?" "Getting married without telling your own mother," she said, pushing past me into the apartment. I was calm and told her, "You made your choice when you told me not to come home all those years ago. You chose Lily over me, and you never even checked on me." She demanded an invitation to the wedding, but I said no. On the wedding day, I was nervous, but also excited. Standing at the altar, I saw Marcus waiting for me, looking handsome in his suit. Richard walked me down the aisle, and I felt like I was finally where I belonged. When my biological parents showed up at the reception, I knew it was going to be a confrontation. I decided to let them in but had them seated in the back. When the MC announced the Thompsons as my parents, the truth hit my mom like a cold wave. She came up to me shouting, "What is going on? Who are those people?" I calmly said, "They are my legal parents. I was adopted 2 years ago. You abandoned me first." The guests around us stopped talking and watched. She tried to argue, but I stood my ground. My dad then spoke up, saying, "Rebecca, I'm sorry. I should have done better." I looked at him and said, "I know you're sorry, but sorry doesn't undo all the years of pain." Mr. Thompson stepped in and said, "It's time for you folks to leave. You gave her away, and we picked her up. We showed her what a real family is." The security guards escorted them out. I turned to the Thompsons and said, "Thank you for being my family." And as I looked around at the people who truly loved and supported me, I knew that I'd finally found my home. 2 weeks after the wedding, I received a letter from Lily. She said that my mom was devastated and that my dad hadn't been the same since the wedding. She hoped I'd understand that they were just trying to keep the peace. But I knew that some things couldn't be fixed. A year after the wedding, Marcus and I bought a house near the Thompsons. I was now working as a full-time writer for a well-known magazine. I was pregnant, and the Thompsons were over the moon. Sitting at the dinner table on the 5th anniversary of that fateful Thanksgiving, I looked around at my family and raised my glass. To family, the one we choose and who chooses us back. And as I held my baby in my arms, I knew that I'd never let her feel the way I did growing up. I'd give her all the love and acceptance she deserved.